Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 16 of Smite Talk. My name is OctanePro, and I am joined by a special guest this week. We do have TrendKill, who is a Smite content creator, streamer, and community personality. TrendKill, how's it going?
Hey! How's everybody doing? Sorry. I'm a little excited.
That's right. You should be. You should be. Well, chat room, make sure you guys give TrendKill and chat a warm welcome. First time on Smite Talk. It was actually, you know, I usually check out TrendKill. I will be honest with you, man. I check you out at work. You know, when you're streaming, I'm
you
at
shouldn't
work.
do that.
So it works out really well. Yeah, I know, right? I should be working, but instead I'm watching TrendKill. Sometimes watch F. with first period and stuff like that at work, and helps the day go by when you have like the 3 monitors. Just throw one up on the side and just enjoy it. So I was kind of looking at it and I was like, okay, like, a lot of my focus on Smite Talk has been a lot of people that usually stream right around now during this kind of hourly time period. And there's a whole other group of people that like the EU scene connects with a lot more, which is like your time period, which is like in the morning and stuff. Because when it's, are you East Coast or West Coast?
I am Midwest.
Midwest.
Holding it down right in the center of the nation.
Okay. Okay. Right. We're God's country out there, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So, you know, when he's streaming on Smite Game, he's touching a whole nother audience that I never even really get a chance to touch base with a lot of because of the time zone difference with, you know, across the ocean and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, it'd be a great opportunity, you know, bring TrendKill on. You know, see kind of how things go from there. So, you know, if those of you guys checking out Smite Talk for the first time, as I said, my name is OctanePro. I'm the host of the show. We just finished up doing Smite Update. And this show is about 30-45 minutes. If the audience has a lot of questions and is really, really interactive, it sometimes goes to an hour. And what we do is we have set topics that we talk about for today, but we also allow you guys to call in and give your opinion on different things. Comments, questions for myself or for TrendKill or about the topic at hand that we're talking about. So if you guys do want to go ahead and call in, it'll go ahead and put you in a lobby. So when you call in, it's not automatically going to jump you in. Feel free, download Raid Call, and right below my video, you'll see there's a group ID, 7461039. So just put that in the search bar. Put you right in, and make sure you guys test out your audio settings ahead of time. Make sure your microphone's working correctly and all set. Sometimes it's push to talk, sometimes it's free mode, and then also make sure your audio, the output is set correctly before you get on the show if possible. We don't have a median right now for somebody to go ahead and manage all that, so you know, it's also, you know, great to have. So before we go ahead and jump in, here's our topics for today. First topic is going to be a quick little interview with TrendKill. Second topic is going to be talking about the new God released Nemesis and kind of get our thoughts on her. And then you guys, you know, feel free to call in. I want to hear your thoughts on Nemesis. You know, TrendKill and I want to know, what do you think about Nemesis? Do you like her? You don't like her? She's too strong? She's too weak? If she's too strong, come on the show and tell us how you would change her. You know, don't just come on and be like, she's overpowered. Click. You know, give us some feedback. We're going to take questions from the community. Via ask.fm/OctanePro. I'll go ahead and put that in chat for you guys here. So feel free to ask questions. We'll get to that later in the show. And then we're also going to kind of have a TrendKill gets to pick a topic. So he's going to pick a topic of his choice, and we'll talk about it. That'll be later on. And then finally, if we have time, I know, right? Finally, if we have time, we'll talk about where does Hi-Rez go from here? This is a huge question that people are asking when the game launches. Game's going to launch on March 25th. So where do we go from here? Is a really good question to ask. So TrendKill, you ready for a few questions?
Do it.
All right. So first question.
I'm always ready.
So what is the story behind the gamer handle TrendKill?
That's a really easy one. I'm a humongous metalhead for most the people that watch my show now. And I'm a big Pantera fan. So every moniker that I've ever really had on gaming anything has been related to Pantera in some way, and their fourth major album is the Great Southern TrendKill. That's where I pulled it from. Okay. And now, when did you, I guess I'll kind of tap off of that, how long ago was that you kind of adopted that name? Because I mean, some people hold on to their handle from like their like childhood, playing in like middle school or whatever. What about you? Well, I played 5 Minutes Alone was a Pantera album off of the Far Beyond Driven album, which is their third studio album. So I guess their third major. So I guess the Great Southern TrendKill was their fourth major. And I played competitive Counter-Strike with 5 Minutes Alone. So when the Xbox 360 came out, when I went to create my gamer tag, they would not let you start with a number, so I had to not use 5 minutes alone anymore, which is when I started using TrendKill. So.
Oh, interesting. So I have to like turn around here, grab it off of my lovely shelf. Oh, let's see if I can do it with an earbud in. And we have the lovely Half-Life Counter-Strike original box with all the original content. And I even have a little CS:GO, like a little sweatband right there. Like, look at that.
Nice.
Perfect edition, by the way.
I would have to like get up from my chair to get it, but I have the jewel case still somewhere.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's like some people are like, I don't care about like the boxes and stuff like that, and they're like, I'll just do the digital version. I love like having that type of like content. Like, I'm kind of sad like with Smite, there isn't going to be like a box release or anything like that. Like, it's free to play. You just download it. I mean, it saves Hi-Rez a ton of money, but at the same time, I'm like, I like this stuff. I like the tangible stuff. Like, I love going back and looking at it and being like, wow, these graphics were horrible back then. But
that's because we're old, dude. We like, we used to have like, you have to do it that way. You used to have a like a Nintendo cartridge box,
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's just like, oh my goodness. It's old school, but I still love it. Like, I think the last one I bought was actually on shelf behind me is the collector's edition of Heart of the Swarm for StarCraft. That's like the last one I bought. And Blizzard's always very good at doing that stuff. But so let's jump into our next question here. Growing up, what video games did you play? And was there a particular genre that caught your eye and kind of sucked you in through your childhood leading up to when you were an adult?
I mean, I've played pretty much every genre. Like I said, I'm an old guy, so I've played Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all the old systems leading up to today. So really, it becomes, what haven't I played?
Okay, good question. That's a very good way to look at it.
But the main thing that really sucked me into video games has always been RPGs, and MOBAs they're kind of an RPG. They're just a PvP action-based RPG,
Yep.
But the games like Morrowind, stuff like that, and even before that, like anybody knows, like old like Suikoden or Shining Force, games like that. Those are the games that really sucked me in, and so I would have to say RPG, pretty much anything.
Okay.
I played it.
Sure, without a doubt there. And so jumping ahead, when did you start playing Smite, and what attracted you to it? Because it sounds like you played a variety of different genres. So what really, when was it, and what pulled you in?
I started playing Smite during the Ares patch, when Ares was like on the home screen dancing around, and I think that was in like October of 2012.
Yep.
And one of my subscribers on YouTube was like, "Hey, I got a beta key for this game. You want to check it out?" And I was like, "Well, what is it?" And he was like, "Well, it's a MOBA." And I was like, "Oh, I tried League of Legends. The whole Dota 2 thing didn't really enjoy those." And he's like, "No, this one's like WASD, and you move around. It's a lot like World of Warcraft PvP." And I was like, "Oh, I'll check it out then." And so I downloaded it, and the first god I ever played was the original Sun Wukong, and I was like, "Wow, this is cool." And I've been playing since. So,
well, it's kind of funny because it's kind of funny because you came over from the Counter-Strike scene, and the controls are almost identical when it comes down at least to your movement ability. I mean, I feel like that was a goldmine for Hi-Rez when they moved at this with a MOBA, because I was very concerned where like playing League of Legends and Dota, it's completely different. Whereas when you're looking at Smite, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is natural. It works perfect.
Right. Anybody who's played computer or PC games for a long time understands WASD, and they know it very well, and it's an easy transition versus the click down. You might not have played RTS, so the isometric view is a little different for you, and it's a little not, I don't want to say boring, because it's obviously League of Legends is very action packed, but I prefer feeling like I am my character moving it around. You know what I mean?
So do you think, you kind of mentioned there, this is kind of off to the side, when you first heard, oh, it's a MOBA, do you think that kind of hurts Smite with like, as it's trying, and what I mean by that is in regards to its marketing and advertising to a new audience? Like, does part of you feel it would be better if it was almost put into a different genre, or do you think the MOBA actually helps it? Like saying it's a MOBA.
It's a double-edged sword. It's the perfect double-edged sword, because obviously League of Legends is a massive game. Anytime you go on Twitch and look at the directory, it's going to always be #1.
Yep.
And it's that way for a reason, because it's a MOBA and it's a PvP based and it's competitive, and we as gamers, we love competition. No matter what we do, even if it's just, you know, playing Super Nintendo with your friend, you like beating him at Mario Kart or whatever, you know. And I think that aspect of it is definitely a benefit. The problem is that just like Call of Duty, when you say I'm going to play Call of Duty, you instantly think, I'm going to talk to a bunch of 12-year-olds who have had sex with my mother, you know. So it's got that bad word, you know. And the MOBA community, having friends that do play League of Legends and know about it, they're always like, oh God, it's you know, when you're starting out, it's the worst thing ever. And you get that way with the word MOBA now, because it's the same style of game, even though it's a completely different game. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I think that's a very good point. So let's go ahead. Are there any other games from the past that has engulfed your, I guess, hobby or enticed your addiction like Smite has?
It started off with Counter-Strike.
Okay.
And then when our team disbanded, we were in I think Cal P. We were one step away from CPL, which is the professional league. We were in the amateur league.
Good for you.
And we had one of our guys leave the team, and when your core 5 changes, you have to start all the way back from the bottom. And the rest of the team didn't want to continue doing that, so we kind of left the competitive scene, and that kind of made me not really care about Counter-Strike anymore. I still play with my friends, but after that, I had a buddy that unfortunately introduced me to World of Warcraft, and that was like heroin. I played that for years back. I started in vanilla and played all the way through Wrath of the Lich King, and then I kind of said, okay, that's enough.
Okay, so you stopped a little before me then, because I always have to look back so I forget the names. I have the boxes as well. Once again, I keep the boxes. I played up through Cataclysm and finished the final levels, and then I stopped playing. Like, I didn't raid, I didn't do any of that stuff. But I feel like it's kind of interesting because for me, you know, I played WoW and then I went into StarCraft 2, but what attracted me to Smite, not trying to gank your interview here, but what attracted me to Smite was the fact that during World of Warcraft, I was very heavy into PvP and World of Warcraft, third person, and I played PvP, so Arena and Battlegrounds were like my thing. I didn't want to raid and I didn't want to do any of that. I did that in the early days. So when I was playing a lot of StarCraft, and when I was first introduced to Smite, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is everything I did in World of Warcraft, but without the long hours of commitment in order to get your gear, you know?
Yeah. And the cool thing about Smite, and the really thing that drew me to Smite after World of Warcraft, because it's the one game that I played like the same game for a year straight or longer.
Yeah.
And the thing that really drew it to me was the fact that I did get to control Zeus or Thor or Odin, you know, like all the people that you know from mythology, and even if you don't know mythology, you know them from like the Avengers movies and stuff like that.
Oh, sure, yep.
And you know, and that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Oh, sure. Without a doubt. I completely agree. So moving on from there, another question that we have going on within our list here. There are numerous streamers in the Smite community. Which one do you find yourself watching time and time again?
I personally, first off, Chixie's amazing, by the way. She streams right before me, for anybody that doesn't know.
Okay.
If you get up that early, Eastern or Central time zone, she's amazing. Very nice, very polite, and she's actually really good. Unfortunately, she's got such an early time slot. Not a lot of America watches her.
Sure.
But other than that, I've always, you know, Dry is one of the first big community members that actually, that I actually talk to, and I enjoy. If I stay up late or have a late night, I always turn on Dry stream.
Okay.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he has this. It's crazy because I've talked to him. It was kind of funny. When Dry Bear first came into the scene, you know, he had a huge YouTube following because of the variety of different games that he played previously.
Right.
And when he came into the scene and he first started to stream, I had talked to him, and him and I started the Smite Update show, and then he handed off his place to Risty when he just became too busy with projects like Tier Monster and school and stuff.
Right.
And when he first started talking about Twitch, he was like, oh, you know, him and I had talked, and I'm going to be streaming, but, you know, YouTube was like his big thing. Like his life was YouTube. And I think and it's funny talking to him now because he realizes just how many people you reach out to at one time with Twitch, and how, yes, like it's awesome. Like let's just tap into that a little bit. You have a huge following from YouTube. A very large following, one of the larger ones within the entire Smite community, believe it or not.
Right.
And it comes from a variety of different games. Do you feel that helps you when you're looking at your own stream and you stream your own on your own stream, do you feel like that entire connection from the YouTube community moves over pretty adjacently, or how does that work for you between Twitch and YouTube?
Like, honestly, it's two completely different worlds. They might as well not even mention it in the same sentence.
Okay.
For anybody who doesn't know, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm just using this as an example. I have 120,000 YouTube subscribers. When I stream, I may get 400 maximum on a normal stream.
Okay.
Now, if I were to throw on, say, Skyrim or something, which is what created my channel, or Borderlands 2, which is also what created my channel, you're talking I get up to like 1,000, but even still, out of 120,000 people, only 1,000 want to watch my live stream. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So concurrent viewers is a big difference from somebody who wants to sit. Okay, I've got some time. Let's go watch a TrendKill video or an Octane video or whoever.
Yeah.
So I find that it's a completely different world. So anybody looking to get into either of those two, do what you like, not what you think is going to make you the most money, because once you get into one, if you become popular in that one, you're not necessarily going to become popular in the other one.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very, very good point. I mean, I run into a lot of people. A few weeks back, I released a series on my own YouTube, just how to stream Smite, just kind of the basics of setting up Smite and CPU questions and upload questions and stuff like that, and hardware questions. And it was interesting because there was a lot of people that came to me saying, hey, I'm a small-time Twitch streamer. I only get 1 or 2 or 3 views. Is it worth for me to tap into the YouTube circuit? I haven't touched it at all. And that was kind of a question I asked them is, are you looking to increase your viewership on Twitch or increase it on YouTube? And they were like, I want to do both. And I said, well, remember, like you need to kind of try to specialize yourself, one or the other, because they're two different outreaches, just like you said. Twitch requires a completely different set of skill sets, I feel like, compared to with YouTube. The content structure and everything. So, as you said, completely different viewership on which direction you go. So, it's kind of cool to hear that from you, being 100,000 plus subscribers. That's pretty awesome. So, congratulations to you in the first place for having that many. Awesome.
Thank you. It's fun, definitely.
Yeah. Now, do you find yourself doing as many Smite videos on your YouTube, or do you kind of stick to a lot of your cookie cutter, your roots when it comes down to Skyrim and stuff like that?
Well, when it comes to YouTube, I play so much Smite on Twitch, on Smite game and on my own stream.
Yeah.
That there's so much Smite content, actual just gameplay, quote unquote, let's play style stuff on Twitch, that I really don't want to do that on YouTube as well, because I feel like I'm doubling up for the people that do come to my stream.
Yeah.
But I really desperately want to make guides for Smite. However, it just changes so much in its current beta state that by the time I make one, I go to make the second one, and the first one's already outdated. So
very true.
So I'm talking closely with a lot of the guys at Hi-Rez and finding out when can I start doing X guides, or when can I move towards something else. And unfortunately, they're just like, we don't know, So
it's never going to slow down.
Yeah, and it's not going to.
Yeah.
And I'm working on a guide right now, and it's got a lot better production value than my first one. But my first guide came out like when we were on the old Conquest map, so it was a long time ago, and it's just completely outdated. And I don't want to mislead anybody, so I'm doing my best to remake it. And it should be coming out this week, so it'll be the first new set of guides that I'm releasing.
Yeah, I feel like hopefully they've overhauled the Conquest map so many times at this point. I think they're kind of happy at this point. I hope kind of have set a point of stability for it.
With release in about a month, I think we're fairly safe that nothing's going to drastically change. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Is there any god or god type, meaning like support, AD, AP, whatever, solo lane, in Smite that you've been waiting for that hasn't been released yet? Taking a look at it.
And I know I'm going to get some backlash for this one because we already have a lot of Norse and Greek gods, but I would really like to see Baldur. I think they could do a lot of cool stuff with him. Also, we've already got 2 of Loki's children. We need I can't even pronounce it, Jormungand or something like that. I think both of those. Heimdall would be really cool as well. Heimdall would be one of my favorites. And I think they need to open up a few more, what's the word? Gods. What am I looking for? Like Chinese, Hindu.
Oh, okay. You're trying to tap into the other religions out there and kind of...
Yeah, what is that? What's it called? Pantheons.
There we go. There you go.
I would like to see Japanese. There's a lot of cool African gods that they could do.
Yep.
We've already got Bumba, from Bumba's Mask. So I mean, I would like to see them open it up to a few more gods. But I understand what they're doing. If they didn't have Thor, Zeus, Odin, a lot of the big name gods that people know, they wouldn't be drawing any viewers or players. So
well, yeah, I mean, it's a big thing. If you looked over at the Tencent Game Carnival that happened quite a few months back, it was interesting to talk with Hi-Rez employees and see that like they encouraged the players that were there to play some of the gods that were the well-known gods, so to help attract that audience. And I mean, you might be like, oh, what the heck, blah blah blah. They shouldn't do that. Well, TCG was a marketing and advertising opportunity for Hi-Rez Studios and Tencent. Like, so they were pushing the Aokwangs and pushing the Thors and pushing the Guan Yus and the Odins and some of those well-known gods. So yeah, I can understand it. I think it's a good point. Another question there. There has been several new mechanics added to Smite over the last year that has reshaped the game. Which one do you feel is the most significant?
Oh, probably focus. No, I'm just kidding.
It came and it went.
Honestly, obviously, this is a seemingly obvious question, but back when in the last year, we've seen a jungle role come in.
Yeah,
it used to be a 2-1-2 meta, and obviously that was the biggest change. But other than that, I don't really know. Like adding the jungle role, I think it took a lot of the safety out of the game.
Yeah.
You used to be able to sit in your lane and be like, oh, okay, nothing's gonna happen unless somebody rotated, and now you've got that uber, scared feeling coming out of the jungle, and you got to have wards, and it's. I think that's made the game a lot more balanced, if you will. I mean, I know it doesn't sound like it, but I think it's made the game a lot more action-packed and a lot more feeling of like, holy crap, I could die at any given moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think it's a really good point. And then finally, what god type do you enjoy playing the most, and which one the least?
Okay. In order of best to worst, one, I hate playing warrior. I'm so bad with warriors, like awful.
Do you consider Nemesis a warrior? No, I'm just kidding.
No, she's an assassin.
Yes, very
much. My list goes hunter, guardian, mage, then assassin, and then warrior. I'm not very good from the jungle or the solo, but I'm trying to get better. It's just not. It's not doing very. I'm not very good with them.
No, I mean, I think
I like ranged. I like the mages and I like the hunters because they're ranged.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's a very different playstyle going from a ranged class directly into a melee more aggressive class because the commitment's there. I mean, think of it as a range, you're staying back, you're casting your spells. Sometimes you're committing in depending on the fight, like Hebo with your ultimate, you're committing in completely, or somebody like Mercury. But then when you tap into your melee classes, you're like in the fight, like you're there. It's completely different. And for the longest time, I was very much into like your Anhurs and your Agnes and Anubis and stuff like that. And then over the past like month, I've been like, wow, like nobody goes into a game and types in chat, support dual lane. Like nobody does that. That support class is just kind of filled for whatever's left. And I feel like the support
I like support.
Support is so needed. Like it plays such a large role as you start to migrate into mid game because of the team fight introduction. So for me, I've been like, okay, there's not a lot of people calling that when I go into games. Let's try to master a lot of that support class. So that's what I've been doing, at least for me, for in game, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun because it makes or breaks the game, just like a jungler would, or mid laner and stuff like that. So.
And with the addition of Watchers and Midas boots, I mean, you can feel free to roam as a Guardian and not lose too much gold. You're still going to be a little behind in experience, but you're the one class or you're the one type of class that nobody really cares what your level is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I really like support. Support is my second favorite role.
Oh, awesome. Now, who's your favorite support to play? If you had to pick anybody.
Oh, Sobek.
Oh, Sobek. Okay.
100% Sobek. Not a chance. There's nobody even close. Athena's pretty good, but Sobek just my homeboy.
See, I play Ymir, and I always play the golden Ymir. I call him my Buttermere. I love like
the gold nugget.
Oh my gosh, like Ymir is my man, like my go-to. Like if somebody was like, I need you to play the best god possible in game, who are you gonna play? Ymir. all the time.
Right.
And then Sobek's definitely second for me, and just because of where I feel like the comfort level with. And now I'm starting to focus on Athena, but I feel like Athena is like going from Ymir and Sobek to Athena is like totally different because you have so much CC available to you as Ymir, and then with Sobek you have your grab, a lot of control of the lane. With Athena,
right,
it's totally different. So that's a new learning experience for me, without a doubt. For Athena.
So she's fun. She can do a ton of damage, dude.
Yes. Yeah, which
Holy
is different.
cow.
Which is different from like your Sobek and your Mir, where you can still do damage, but it's a lot of control.
I like playing Sobek in lanes with people who have roots and stuns or like Neath on her. Cupid.
Artemis,
I like playing. Yeah, I like playing Athena in lanes with like Apollo or Shibalanke or Muzenkov, stuff like that. People who can't root somebody after a flip, but can also do a ton of damage off of taunts and stuff like that.
Yeah, without a doubt. So let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and bring in Lucent Horse here in a minute. See kind of what he wants to talk about, what type of questions he has, stuff like that. Once again, guys, if you guys do want to go ahead and call in, hang out, talk with myself and TrendKill, ask questions, or you can just give a statement like, I feel X, Y, and Z with Smite. Please do. We're not biased at all. People are coming from all over the place. So go ahead.
I'm biased.
That's right. Use Raid Call. We're using Raid Call. Once again, that does protect myself and also TrendKill from any of those DDoSers that look to kind of grab our Skype information. That's why we're using Raid Call versus like a Skype option. So please go ahead and download Raid Call. And in the upper left-hand corner, you have a search box. Just type in what's directly below my video, which is 746-1039, and go ahead and call in, and you'll be thrown in the lobby, and then we'll kind of bring you in. Now, if you don't have an option to call in, maybe you're limited or you're traveling, stuff like that, I will put a link in chat, and this is going to be for www.ask.fm/OctanePro. And just go there and ask your question, and we'll kind of scoot through those when we have time. So let's go ahead and bring Lucent Horse in.
Let's do it.
Lucent Horse, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. Thanks for coming on Smite Talk tonight. What type of question, comment, or statement or opinion do you have for us tonight?
Well, first off, I'd like to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody calls support in the pre-match lobby because, come on, man. Come on. No, but I really only have one main question tonight. And it's something that me and one of my friends have talked about a couple times. And it's really basically just what do we think about pro teams playing in some of the casual games? It's not casual games, casual tournaments. Such as like on steroids 3v3 tournament from a couple weeks ago, or actually that one was 2v2, but you get the idea. I have my own opinions, and I'd like to hear your guys' first. If I do wish to share mine, but I'd like to hear yours first.
Okay. Well, first off, I can say there's a lot of competitive teams right now that are playing. Like the other week, we saw Barracuda play with his team COG, get first in the North American Hi-Rez Weekly. Then we saw him go to SmiteTube, which SmiteTube necessarily is not I wouldn't consider it like the pro level yet, but for the 3v3, but it's definitely an up and coming type of scene with the 3v3 being competitive. Do I ever see it going pro? Probably not. I am sorry to a lot of those 3v3 lovers, but I don't know that we're going to see type of a pro scene around it. But then we saw Cognitive go ahead and play in that scene and get first there. And then they went on to play in a 2v2 as well. Is it fair? Sure, why not? I mean, think about it. I mean, they're just looking to play just like everyone else. It also brings additional attention to those scenes as well. But, I don't really mind it, but I'll kind of throw it over to TrendKill and get his opinion just, on pro teams from the 5v5 playing in 3v3, 2v2, arena games, stuff like that.
I'm not going to take the opposite opinion from you, but I'm going to deviate from what you said just a little bit. The thing that I don't like about that is that obviously if you're in a casual tournament, you're expecting to play casually. And when the pros come in, it makes it kind of rough for the casuals to enjoy themselves. I'll throw, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but the Tier Monster Pro-Am tournament that we did, was it Code Green? They have so many different colors, I don't know. Code Purple or Blue or something.
Code Rainbow.
Yeah. But they had the Pro-Am tournament, and originally how I understood it, and I probably just understood it correctly because I assumed like a Pro-Am golf tournament, they had a pro playing with a celebrity of some sort, you know. So that's initially how I assumed they would have a pro and then a face of Smite, or a celebrity, if you will. I don't call myself a celebrity, but and then 3 people, and that's how it would work. And then I noticed that all the pros had their own teams, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. We got demolished in the first game, you know. But the thing about it is that I guess you don't go into a competitive, a casual tournament thinking, oh, I'm going to be super competitive. But we as gamers, we're competitive. We want to win.
Yes.
And you kind of get the wind sucked out of your sails when you know you're going up against a pro team, and you're
that's
like,
true.
Well,
that's true.
We'll just do our best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I think that's a very good point there. I mean, you know, it's kind of that fine line, you know, with that, because they are competitions, and if you were to talk to some of the 3v3 teams that play week in and week out, they might be like, yeah, it's a pro scene, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I think it's all by the way that you view it. I mean, would I love to see 3v3, you know, working out and being a competitive pro scene? Yes. I mean, it's definitely competitive, but pro, it'd be awesome to see it, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. But I do see where you're coming from, where it kind of takes the wind out of your sails when you jump into a tournament like that, and you're like, okay, I'm going to play with my friends, me and 2 other guys doing a 3v3, and then all of a sudden you see like COG and Clash and Slash are in the tournament, and some of the old recent gaming guys and stuff, and you're like, man, I'm not going.
Well, GG.
Yeah.
So I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I do kind of side with TrendKill on that one, mainly because, you know, it is kind of like the casual thing. I can understand more of like, because you guys were talking, was it last week or was it the week before, when you guys had the round table discussion? Yep. You were talking about how like Code Green, some of like the minor leagues, you know, you got the pro teams, and you know, being the major leagues, you got, you know, Code Green is like the minors. I can kind of see like the back and forth of, you know, occasionally like, you know, the pro players going in there and all that. I mean, I personally see the like, you know, like I was saying, on steroids, his 3v3 tournament, weekly tournaments there, I see those as more casual. So it's kind of, to me at least, that's more of like, you have the major leagues, the minor leagues is Code Green, and then you have, you know, the casuals, it's like college level. And having like a pro players go into like a college level, like that's sports wise, obviously, is what I'm referring to here. Missing that. I can understand it because it is still competition.
Yeah.
I think I would just rather, if it's a casual tournament, pro players not be there. I mean, you know, all the power to the pro players that want to play, you know, maybe do like another type of tournament, not type of tournament, but like their own sort of tournaments, you know, that are like the 3v3s and all that fun stuff, or even have like Tier Monster maybe even start up their own 3v3 tournaments, stuff like that. But I don't know. I guess I'm just not really too fond of the pro teams there.
Well, you have to remember that if, like, and I've seen this in some tournaments, if that tournament is not meant, like, some tournaments are meant to have anybody that wants to play in them, and then other tournaments are not. They're meant to focus on casual, and in the rules it will say, you know, and this is something that a lot of the admins look at, is in the rules it will say no players can play that are on any sponsored teams. So
okay. Yeah, I haven't taken notice of that.
Yeah, that is something that some tournaments do have in their rules. But if they don't have it, they're just putting it out, the tournament out there to be like, hey, anybody in the community that wants to play, please come join. So that is something that I feel that tournament organizations need to look at and say, okay, if we are going to go ahead and make that statement, we have to put it in our title to say this is a casual tournament.
Right.
Yeah, I like it.
You know,
I like that.
You know, so.
Well, the word tournament. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
the word tournament attracts people who like to be competitive, and the people who like to be competitive are on pro teams.
Yep.
So it makes perfect 100% sense that they would want to play in those tournaments. But from somebody who has had his fair share of poopings on, I know that if I see like Lass or Pond pop up in one of my games, I'm like, well, it was fun while it lasted, you know?
Yep. Agreed.
So I see from both sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Lucent Horse, you got any other questions, comments, anything like that before we say goodbye?
I mean, you were saying that well, at the start of this, you were saying possibly talking about like Nemesis stuff like that,
Sure,
things you like, things you might change, stuff like that. I like her a lot. She is really awesome. I think her lore would suit her better as an assassin versus a warrior.
Yeah.
I feel as though a lot of her scaling could be a little bit reduced, though, from like the slows and mainly just that big slow from her. Is it the 2 that does the slice and dice? Yeah,
dice. Yep.
That slow. I feel as though that needs to get a little bit of a reduction.
Well, let's get TrendKill's opinion on Nemesis. I mean, Nemesis is one of the topics for tonight. TrendKill, you're definitely playing a variety of different gods. What are your thoughts on Nemesis overall, just being introduced last week?
Well, I can tell you 2 things. One, warrior is by far my worst role. when I can play a warrior, and I've played her 2 times. Okay. I've only played her twice. When I can play a warrior and I can go 5-1 and then 18-1, there's a bad problem.
Yeah.
So I think that it's not the fact that her slow is too much. The 50% slow is not that bad, because Odin's slow is 50%, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
It's the fact that she can do it every 5 seconds with a CDR. Yeah. It's the fact that she can stay on top of you. She's got a double dash. She's got a slow that does a ton of damage. She's got an ult that can't miss, and she's got a shield that's probably one of my favorite abilities in the game.
Yeah,
there's nothing like standing in the middle of an Ao Kuang ult and then be like, bing, nothing like parrying a humongous dragon. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Oh, that too. Yeah, completely forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with her slow because it's it's a very small sliver of her huge. Of her huge thing that she has to hit. Or wait a minute, is the slow on the 2 completely, or do you have to hit in the middle? I don't even remember.
It has to be in the middle. Yeah, be in the middle.
Okay, so the slow is in the middle and the double damage, but that's not the problem. The slow is not the problem. It's the fact that she can do it every 5 seconds. That's crazy.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I see that.
Any last comments there between TrendKill or Lucent Horse on Nemesis right now?
I don't know. I think I'm pretty set. How about you, Trend?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, great. Yeah. Well, Lucent Horse, thanks for calling in, man. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And take care. Thank you very much for the questions.
Thank you for having me. Have a great night, guys.
Awesome. We're going to bring on Skull King in a second, but I wanted to go ahead and take a question or 2 from chat here. One of the questions here is, who is your favorite god, and how do you build them? And keep in mind in chat, there's 2 different types of Smite players out there. There's the Smite players that literally go on sites like Smite Fire or Tier Monster and build exactly what everybody's building. Or there's people that go out there, come up with their own builds depending on their playstyle. So keep that in mind. So, TrendKill, who's your favorite god, and what is your build for that god?
Oh, Lord. I don't know, I have no legendaries because I don't play the same god that much. Not to mention I play mostly custom games, viewer games and stuff. So I don't I don't play a ton of regular games anymore. Mm-hmm. But my favorite gods are hunters, obviously. I do like Thanatos a lot, but I'm gonna stick with, and this is an odd choice because Anhur used to be my worst hunter because he takes some getting used to on how you use his kit. Mm-hmm. And I was awful with him. And I never played him on stream because it was just embarrassing. Okay. And I'm the same way now with Apollo. I can't play Apollo to save my life. And I don't know why. He's so easy to play. I'm just terrible with him. I can't explain it.
Yep.
But I'm going to pick Anhur as my new favorite god. Not over the entirety of my Smite career, but currently in the last couple months, Anhur is really fun, and he's a lot of fun to play, especially if you're playing in the lane with somebody that you know. You can kind of prepare for ganks and dual lane kills and stuff like that. I build him pretty much like everybody else builds him. Okay. I go Death Toll into either Aussie or Heartseeker, then into Boot, then I get Size and finish it off with Deathbringer and Rage, and sell my Death Toll last and probably buy Titan's Bane. I don't know. I mean, it's a fairly common hunter build,
Yeah. Yep.
So there's really not much deviation from that unless I find that I'm getting just boxed hardcore by somebody and I'll build specifically against them maybe instead of Titan's Bane. It just depends.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's definitely Ymir, as I said before, being my favorite god. And I start him out with Watcher's Gift, and I go with Tier 1 of Boots. and then I also get Hog tier 1, 1 health pot and 1 mana pot. And then on my first return, I go ahead and pick up Eye of Providence, so I have that vision, and then I go ahead and start to move into like tier 2, and I actually move directly my boots up into Midas boots, because as a tank, I find that if I'm not having Midas boots and it's just my playstyle, because I move a lot between lanes, a lot of rotation, that I'm losing out on XP and I fall a little too far behind for my comfort level. So I go with Midas boots, get them leveled up, then move into Sovereignty, move into Bulwark of Hope, and then sometimes I move into High Leviathan, which some people have argued that I should start that out a little earlier in place of Sovereignty. Not too sure yet. And then either round it off with like Magi's Blessing or something like that. And then if it gets to be a really late game, I of course will sell the Watcher's Gift and sell even the Midas boots and swap them out if necessary. But it all depends if you get to those really, really late games. And so keep that in mind. But good question there. Good question. It's always fun. It's always fun talking about builds, but everybody has an opinion. Like, I'm surprised in chat.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised in chat I didn't have that's not how you build them. You got to build them this way.
Right.
You got to build them this way. And it's like, oh my gosh, everybody plays the game differently. Be quiet.
Yeah, no matter what you say, you're wrong.
Exactly, right? No, Octane, that's not how you play Ymir. And it's like, I play Ymir how I want to play Ymir. You can play him any way you want. So let's go
I do like playing Face Punch Ymir.
Right?
A lot.
Good. So good. Do you go like jungle Ymir too sometimes?
Yeah, I have. And Bacchus is fun. Face Punch Bacchus. I'd love getting a kill with my auto attacks and screaming chicken leg. I don't even know if it's chicken, but it's some sort of haunch.
Yep. That's funny. So let's go ahead and bring Skull King on. Let's see here. Skull King, how's it going, man? Are you there?
Oh, hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
What's up, buddy?
Welcome to Smite Talk. What do you want to talk about today?
First, I want to comment on the builds thing. I feel that the way Smite should be played is that your build should vary from game to game. I will say that Hunters have the most consistent builds game to game.
Yep.
But overall, every game your build should be completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially support.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I try to emphasize that, like when I have new people, like new players come into like my Twitch stream, and they're like, "What should I build for so and so?" And it's like, well, it's situational. Like you know, especially in solo lane, definitely, because I mean, it all depends what you're running into. You're not going to go ahead and like if you're going against Chunga, you're not going to grab Mystical Mark every time first. That would be pointless. So I completely agree with you. It's very situational. But good point. I like that especially about ADs and Hunters having our closest thing to a standard build.
Right. I do want to get in something real quick before Skull King asks this question.
Yep.
I expect this question to be amazing because Skull King, we have our own podcast, and Skull King asks an amazing question.
Oh, snap. I didn't.
So now I'm hyping him up. It better be good. You're going to let me down.
That's right.
Well, thanks. I've been trying to keep him pretty good. I try to keep it interesting. It's consistency.
That's
What's it been, what, 4 weeks in a row now? You asked a question of mine?
Yep. I think O'Brien likes you.
Oh, boy. So what's your question for us tonight? Or comment or statement?
Well, before I even get into the question, I will make another comment that I will agree with TrendKill on, that I'm hyped for Baldur. I really want to see Baldur come out. It's going to be so interesting to see what they do with that character.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is that, do you feel that people overestimate Nemesis Shield? I mean, you guys mentioned the slow, and everybody keeps going to the slow, but I'm like, you look at the shield, it gives you healing. It reflects half the damage of the ability that hits you, so every time, and with, like, I've seen people reflect the Vulcan ult, the Ao Kuang ult, and different ults like that, and people purposely go stand in Ymir's ult just to reflect half the damage back.
Absolutely.
So people really underestimate that shield, and maybe that'll be something that, maybe the heal gets removed off of it or something like that.
I don't know, like, what, like, it's like Chang'e's, was it, or 2 on crack. Like, it's just crazy. The first time I played it, I played against a Nuwa, and she ulted. I was like, okay, let me stand in this electricity real quick. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's underestimating the 2. Is that what you said, or did you say overestimating?
Maybe underestimating the 3.
Yeah,
the 3.
I'm sorry, the 3. I don't think that they're underestimating the 3 because everybody knows it. I think people, like you said, are just too focused on her slow. Because you feel like you're slowed forever when you've got her 2 and then the ult, and by the time the ult wears off, the 2's ready again, and you're just at 50% speed forever unless you have sprint. But you don't necessarily want to have to buy sprint just to get away from her. But
she always buys sprint anyway, so she's going to chase you down. Doesn't matter.
Exactly, and she's got the double dash.
Yeah, I feel like Sprint's coming more into fashion because of the cheaper price, and it's really I build it all the time in the solo lane now instead of teleport to towers, just because it's so much cheaper and it's a lot shorter cooldown.
Right.
No, I think that's a very good point. Good question there, without a doubt. You got any more questions for us?
No, that was about it. I mean, I like to save questions for the podcast, for TrendKill's podcast anyway.
There you go. There you go. Well, awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on from myself and TrendKill, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
See you, buddy.
Not a problem. Have a good day, guys.
Alrighty. Well, guys, we're going to bring on Cool Dog here in a minute. I want to go ahead and grab another question here. This is more focused on gods a little bit. Good question, though. Do you agree that Ares should be changed to a physical god to make him more relevant and competitively capable? So I'll throw that over to TrendKill first. You've probably played Ares a decent amount, saying that you enjoy supports. What are your thoughts on moving him from magical-based to physical?
That's interesting. One of my favorite things to build on Ares, once I realize, I usually play Ares in Arena because who doesn't? But one of my favorite things to build on him if I get ahead is Gem of Isolation. His chains plus that shield, I mean, Gem is like just ridiculous on him. But I don't know, building him physical, making him bruiser, I mean, like a warrior style god, that seems pretty neat. The problem is fire is not really a physical attack. You'd have to change that a little bit. But everything else is his chains, his sword. I mean, it makes sense. He's got the new shield bash with his auto attack rotation or whatever that's called. That's an interesting question. I never really thought about. I mean, I've always heard the argument, oh, he should be physical. It makes totally sense that he should be physical, but I never really thought about making him like a bruiser style warrior. And unfortunately, since I don't play warriors, I don't have much more to say on that.
Yeah, some people have, and I've even seen the argument where people have been like, they need to take Ares out of the game and bring him back kind of like a Kali overhaul or a Hell overhaul and completely rebuild him. Because when people think, when I think of Ares, the god of war, I don't think of like a tanky type of person like I do with Odin. Or, I'm sorry, with Ymir, who Ymir is just like this giant, the lore, this giant, ice giant type of deal. And he's slow and takes, But then when I look at Ares, I'm like, he's the god of war. Like, okay, Ares pops into mind. Do you remember back in the day, Xena, Warrior Princess?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. With like when they did have Ares in there, the god of war, and like he was all like BA and really ridiculous and did a ton of damage.
Yeah.
And that's what I think about when I think of Ares. And some people make the argument, hey, they should pull him out, revamp him, bring him back physical, and make him more of like a bruiser, almost like a Hercules or something like that. So
the physical part is neat. I really think they could do something like that.
Yeah.
Leave the tanking to Athena. There's no reason that both of them should be tanks.
Correct. I agree.
But the problem with Ares is that he can be so good. Like, if you hit your one, he is ridiculous. If you miss your chains, like, he's useless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The cripple and the damage over time on the chains and the shield afterwards, I mean, he does a ton of damage. But the problem with him is that if you miss that chain, he's kind of like an Anubis. You miss your chain or your wrap, and you're done.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Yep, I agree. Let's go ahead and bring in the Cool Dog here. See what he has. Hey, the Cool Dog, how's it going, man? Welcome to Smite Talk. What questions do you have for us today? Cool Dog?
Hi, Octane.
Hey, how's it going?
There he is.
I'm good. So, what do you think that pulls in the Smite community, and do you think it will increase or decrease in the future?
I'm sorry, say that first part again.
What do you think pulls in the Smite community?
Okay, so what do you think attracts people to the Smite community, or what do you think keeps people around? Okay. And what was the last part of the question? I do apologize.
Will it increase or decrease in the future?
Okay. I'll throw it over to TrendKill. What do you think attracts people to the Smite community, and what do you think keeps them coming back time and time again?
We've already talked about this. I mean, it's the fact that you get to control a god, and especially with the release of the Avengers movies, everybody knows Loki, Thor, and a lot of the big name gods, and the fact that you get to play Thor is ridiculous. Not to mention the WASD controls, I think, keep keep people interested because you feel a little more involved in the game. You know what I mean? The fact that you can only see that 180 degrees in front of you is a big deal because in every other game you can kind of see ganks coming. It makes it a little more, oh crap, I'm gonna die, you know. And will it grow or you know, fail in the future? I mean, there's really no way to know. I think that Hi-Rez is doing everything that they need to do and has done up to this point, everything that they've needed to do to make sure that it's going to grow as much as it can, especially partnering with Tencent. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see if it's going to, I guess, continue the state of growth that it has right now.
Yeah, no, I think good question and a good answer there, TrendKill. Cool dog. Anything else you want to comment on that, or any other questions you have?
Yeah, what's your opinion on the community? Like, is it good, bad, or in the middle?
Sure. I'll take this first. And I'll throw it over to TrendKill.
Sure.
I think the Smite community is a really healthy community because it's growing at a steady pace. It's not like it's 0 to 2 million accounts, you know, within a month period. I mean, the fact that Smite has been around in open beta and then even closed beta for so long that I feel like the increase has been a slow, steady increase. But what it's allowed to do is it's allowed it to grow. And what I mean by that is if you look at some communities like the content creators, streamers, casters that are out there, there's so many of them. Like you just don't really know the difference between one to the next. But I mean, I could say from my perspective, and I think TrendKill can agree, like we pretty much know all the content creators in the scene. You kind of know, everyone's name. You kind of know all the casters in the scene. Everybody's easy to contact and work with, on that side. And so I feel like the size of the community is a really, really good size. Is it going to grow? Yes. I think the numbers will grow. The accounts will grow as it becomes more, interesting. But the cool thing is about like Smite is we're starting as a community to start to see big names come in. Like earlier today, the Creatures were streaming. I think they still are streaming right now. No, not anymore. They were, but they had like 12 to 15,000 people watching their stream alone. Like when we started out with the Smite update, and it was like, wow, like this is awesome. Like look at all these people that they're bringing in. Like this is more than some of the tournaments bring in. And then Tally started streaming it as well. So I think the community is pretty cool. I don't think it's bad at all. I think you naturally have your BM, your bad mattered, and that's just natural. With free to play, you bring in a certain demographic. With free to play, you also have autonomy, where people just kind of there's nothing associated, just their name. So there's nothing associated. There's no responsibility for what they say. So that's just kind of my thoughts. What are your thoughts, TrendKill?
I think anytime you have anonymity, you're going to have bad manners. I mean, there's no way around that. And the internet in general, you go on a forum and you're like, hey, here's my opinion. They're like, well, you're stupid, It just happens. And when you give people that power of anonymity, you give them, it's almost too much power. You know what I mean? But as far as the community goes, I agree with you. Every streamer, every content creator I've ever talked to has been super amazing. Yeah. I haven't run into anybody that I don't like yet. And as far as the actual full-on community, I run my streams a little bit differently. They're very friendly. They're very positive. And I literally receive like one person a day that's, for lack of better words, an ass. And outside of that, everybody's super cool. They're just trying to learn. They're just trying to have fun and play. And I think that out of all of the communities, anybody who thinks the Smite community is bad needs to go back and play Call of Duty or, something like that. Yeah. And you'll really see how good we have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think it's a good point. And what else you got there, Cool Dog? Anything else?
No.
All right, man. Well, thank you for calling in. TrendKill and I definitely appreciate your questions. Great questions. And have a good night.
Take it easy, bud.
All right. Let's go ahead. And we're going to be bringing Machine on here in just a minute. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and take another question. How you looking for time? You okay for time?
Hey, I'm here for you, buddy.
All right, awesome. This question I'll just answer just because I know the answer to it. Someone says, will there be a Mac version of Smite when it comes out on March 25th? No. There's been a little bit of doubt. Yeah, not yet. I'm not saying that it's not ever going to be released, but there definitely is, without a doubt. There are people have talked about seeing some Mac files, and Hi-Rez came out and I did the roundtable discussion just a little bit ago, and somebody had mentioned about Mac, or I forget where I heard somebody mention about Mac. I don't know if it was Bart or something like that. But there has been some dabbling with the Mac version, and some of those files within the data mining been found and stuff like that. And so Hi-Rez identifies there's a need to have it on the Mac client.
Right.
And this is coming from a non-Hi-Rez employee standpoint. I don't work for Hi-Rez. I don't necessarily represent Hi-Rez, but I do represent their stream right now. And I will tell you, it's probably something in the pipeline, but it's not going to be by March 25th, at least from what we've seen, unless Hi-Rez pulls out a surprise. But yeah. So outside of that question here that you had asked, another person had asked here, was, let's see, what are some tips for new players or something in general that you had learned the hard way? So I'll throw that over to TrendKill first.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a nice question because I'm currently working on a beginner's guide.
Nice.
I'm creating a guide that will walk you through start to finish. Like, you downloaded the game, you turned it on, or you turned it on. See, I'm old.
What is this,
I'm like,
console?
I'm gonna turn this thing on.
Is this a console?
Yeah, exactly. You download it, you start it up, and you're like, okay, what now? Mm-hmm. And I think the first thing for beginners to understand is that you can't just run into any lane. There's a specific meta that you should be learning from day one. Mm-hmm. And knowing that meta is only going to make you a better player.
Sure.
And the current meta that we have is the one thing that people don't understand is that there's a long lane and a short lane versus a left and a right lane. A lot of people, when you go into the lower levels, they're like, I got top or bottom because they're come from League of Legends, right? Yep. Or I've got left or right. Well, you need to make sure that you're going into the proper lane. Currently, the meta would be 2 in the long lane, 1 in mid, 1 in the short lane, and 1 in the jungle. And that's something that you should do from day one just to kind of get the feel of it. Mm-hmm. The other tip that I have is you got to understand minion priority and how much damage in Smite minions can actually do.
Yeah.
The fact that minion will always fight another minion first, and then an objective second, and then a god third, unless you attack another god. I've seen so many people just run straight to the other god and start punching them, and then they get killed by minions. You got to be careful with that.
Yep. I mean, tapping on the minions, then I'll give another thought. It's funny. I was playing with somebody the other day, and they were very new to the game, which is fine with me. I enjoy playing with new players, helping them along the way. But for new players, what I found was somebody had jumped in and be like, "Why do the minions do so much damage?" And my first question was, "Do you come from League of Legends or Dota?" And he's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Do not take the gameplay style of those games and the way that you would play them there and try to implement them in Smite. As TrendKill had said, you go crazy balls to the walls in, going right through the minions and attacking the god between levels 1 to 8. You're going to die very quickly to minions because minions are just going to turn around and be like, you're attacking my fellow god teammate, I'm going to attack you. And then all of a sudden you're like, why did I take so much damage, or why did I die? And then you check the screen and it's like, archer damage killed you. And you're like, what? So keep that in mind. The second thing I want to comment on was overcommitment. It's very easy. With a lot of the players that I played with, I play with level 30s, I play with professional players, competitive players, I play with new players. And what I've noticed is that new players will go in and overcommit very easily. They jump in, balls to the walls, like I said, and they're just going to town on the god, spamming buttons, whatever. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're all the way forward in the lane. We don't know where 2 other lanes are, nor do we know where jungle is, and you're just going for it. And the person has full health. I want to kill them. That's fine, but you may kill them and turn around and die to 3 other people, and you've accomplished nothing. So what I can say as a new player is don't overcommit. Look at everything strategically. If you could get the kill, get the kill. But if, there's all different ways to look at it. Like, if you kill a tank versus killing, an AD, or if you kill someone that has Heartseeker versus somebody that doesn't. There's so many different ways for overcommitting that can be looked at. The best recommendation I can play is, as a new player, play passively. Play very defensively, but play smart. Eventually, you'll get to that aggressive level where you know the limitations of your pressure. You know the limitations of your god, and you know the limitations of other gods. So, as a new player, take it easy. I know you just want to go crazy, but take it easy. So that's my last thought. What about you? Any last things to touch on?
Real quick, it's overcommitting is not just a new player problem. It's also a mentality.
Yep.
I've seen people who are level 30 and who've got 1,000 games under their belt chase somebody deep into the enemy jungle, thinking if I could just get one more auto attack. There comes a time where you should know when to cut that cord, and eventually, depending on who you're chasing, depending on who you are, you might not catch that guy, and you just got to let that one go, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, when you see somebody go through one tower, then through a second tower, and by that time they're up near the Phoenix trying to get the kill, and you're like, you're going to kill them, possibly, and then turn around, you have 2 towers that you can't go through, and then you go ahead and isolate yourself into a jungle where their entire team collapses on you, and it's like, why?
Right.
So I completely agree there. Let's go ahead and bring on another caller here. Siege Mirror, I think is in the name here. We'll go ahead. Siege, how's it going? Welcome to Smite Talk. Are you there, sir? Maybe. I know.
I think you skipped Machine anyway.
I know. Well, I was going to bring Machine on, but he wasn't answering. You know, so Bueller. Okay, so he's not there. Let's see if Machine's there. Hey, Machine, you there?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, man? Welcome to Smite Talk.
It's going well. Hold on, let me turn off the stream here because I'm hearing myself.
I know, isn't it
Sorry
weird?
About that.
Isn't it weird when you hear yourself? You're like, oh man, I don't want to hear myself. So, what questions or comments or statements do you have for TrendKill or myself?
Well, first off, I just want to say I really enjoy your guys' show, and I find you guys 2 of the more helpful guys in the community, which is, you know, a breath of fresh air for some other games I've played and other streams I've watched.
Awesome.
But I guess, yeah, I just wanted to switch gears here a little bit and talk about everyone's favorite mode, Arena.
Okay.
JK. But you know, I found myself, just because of time constraints, the work constraints, I can't really get into Conquest right now as much as I'd like. So Arena is kind of like that jump in and get things done, still enjoy the game type mode. I've been experiencing a couple of things the last couple of days that have been kind of frustrating, and I was curious if you guys could maybe shed some light on it. I was in a match today where we played a full 5-man guild, and I'm just curious why that is allowed, and why there shouldn't be like another pre-made mode, if you will, where if you want to queue with 4 or 5 guys, you shouldn't be able to play against another pug.
Yeah.
Sure.
TrendKill, you want to take it, or you want me to take it?
No, I can take it. I think the issue is that Conquest is the bread and butter, and Conquest is what most people queue for. So already going into Arena, you have less people that you're going to be matched with. And if they can't find you a proper match, they're going to match you with the next best thing, which just unfortunately for you happened to be a 5-man. The issue with making a separate, you know, like a 5-person queue or a team queue would be the fact that now they're taking an already small enough Arena queue and splitting it not in half, but, you know, possibly in half.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that would be good for the original Arena queue already. So it becomes a thing where as much as we would like to believe Smite is the #1 MOBA in the world, it's still fairly small and it's in its infancy. Infancy, not infancy. So we got to remember that the game base is not as big as like a League of Legends or something. So no matter how good or how awesome the matchmaking is, we don't have as big of a pool to pull from. You know what I mean?
Correct.
No,
Yeah,
I totally get that.
Yeah, I mean,
I think maybe a solution. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, please. You're the guest. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think maybe the solution is don't allow people to queue more than 3 people at a time. So even if there is 2 guild groups you're facing, perhaps maybe there's 3 on one guild and 2 in the other. I just think like a 5 being able to be on vent together or whatever you choose is just, you're going to own a pug. It's like you almost want to just surrender immediately.
Yeah, I mean, communication is huge in these games, and that's why you see like these teams, like 5v5 teams in Conquest, like the competitive side, pro side, they go ahead and they're like they play together. Some of them eat together. They live together, and so the communication is like an amazing point. Just like you talk about, like it's so hard to go against a team in like an arena style, where arena is supposed to be so casual, but of course it depends on the person viewing it, and you know they're so like amazing at it, and as TrendKill had talked about, it comes down to the population, and I think they try, you know, I love to see more detail in the matchmaking. Hi-Rez has come out with it in the past because people questioned it a lot. You know, they try to group you, like with your party, like if you and I go ahead, Machine, and group together, and let's say you're light years better than me, and your elo, you know, your hidden matchmaking value per se, you know, they try to take the average between us and then apply that, and that kind of represents you and I. And then, you know, they try to get more random players in there, and then they want us, our group of 5, let's say it's me and you party, then 3 other people. They try to take us and put us directly against a small party with a few random people. Well, if that population isn't there, just like TrendKill said, it's like, what do? Do we make them wait until the next queue is available, so you have to wait another 3 minutes. Or we have this group of 5 that's partied together that's already available. What do we want to do first? And, well, what would you rather do? Wait 3 more minutes? Or would you rather go ahead against a pre-made 5? And everybody looks at it differently. You, exactly like you said, you know, we're like, oh, I really hate it because it's just it's a slaughter. But other people might go, I just want to play. You know, I only have X amount of time. Put me into a game. So hopefully that helps to answer your question a little bit.
Sure. I think the solution that I've kind of found the last 2 days for me personally is just hopping into Arena League. Because then, you know, you're kind of off on your own. No one's on a team. You can do it that way. And honestly, after just to see the difference in the player base and how people seem to be a lot more kind, less trolling, things like that, I think I'm fine to wait 7.5 minutes in a queue to play League versus a full pug.
Yeah. That's a good recommendation. Real good one.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about Arena is that, honestly, and even anytime you got 5 people working against you, it's bad. You know what I mean? Especially if you only have 1 or 2, or you're solo queued. You know. The thing is, though, is I played, and I don't know who they are, and I don't know if I'm calling anybody out or not, but I played an Arena with SNK. A lot of people know SNK, guy that streams with me a lot, and 3 random people. You know, we just queued for an Arena, and we played against a 5-person clan called Arena, was their clan tag, and we actually beat them.
Wow!
And they were so mad in the after game lobby. So it is possible. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of communication, a lot of typing, but it can be done. So it's not always an F6 at 10, but I get where you're coming from. Just like playing a pro in a tournament when you're on.
Sure, without a doubt. So any last questions or comments there, Machine, before we let you go? Oh, is that me that lost audio there? I don't hear him. Hang on here. TrendKill's still there, so hang on, guys. TrendKill, you still there? Okay. All of a sudden, I lost audio. I was like, what's going on? So, hang in there, guys. What's that? Yeah, I know, right? L2 computer. Yeah, 1 sec here. Anyways, Machine, I'll let you go here. Thanks for coming to join us, man. Thank you. All right. I want to make sure everything's still working here. I think... That's right! That's right. Technical difficulties just have to happen. Guys in chat, they're saying they can't hear you, but that's not your fault. That is, let me take a look at something real quick here. I think I have a capture card on the way out. And so, yeah, unfortunately. So we'll have to see here. I might be ordering one this week. So we'll have to see what happens here. I know, right? All right, so we'll give it a sec. Give it a second, guys, while we get this figured out. And then we'll be good to go. Let's see. Release the chat. APC, you troll. You troll. Let's see. The stream is still up, or did it go down? No, that's still up. Alright, cool. Let's see here. Yes, I'm surprised it's still up because it's telling me my lovely XSplit has stopped responding, which is awesome. So they could you know, they could definitely, you know what, we'll go ahead and, we're going to go ahead and swap over. Let's go ahead and swap over to Skype's audio. I'm going to kill the audio on Raid Call. And we'll just continue it just because of difficulties. We'll continue it on Skype. So, be right back.
Roger that.
All right, 1 sec. It's like, yay, technical difficulties. We love it. Play elevator music. That's right. Hang on here, TrendKill. Let me get your...
Oh, they hear me now. Yay. Whatever you did, something worked.
Trying to fix this, guys. Thanks for hanging with us here. Dang you, capture card.
Abort! Abort! Doom, 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 doom.
Really? Come on. Come on. I'm trying to get my lovely audio sound mixer up so I can actually turn up Skype right now so people can hear your wonderful voice.
Yeah. I'm just going to talk really close to the microphone.
Let's see. TrendKill, you there?
Yep.
All right. So I think we're okay here. I did go ahead and swap over. So, guys, we won't be able to take any more live calls because of the swap over, but we'll try to answer any questions that are within the ask.fm /OctanePro link. So we're good to go. I was trying to go ahead and turn you down a little bit, but I could do that here without a problem. Don't worry about it. Just to make sure you're not blasting people's ears. So let's put it right about here. Okay. All right. Say something for me real quick.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, cool, guys. So we're good to go there. Guys, do apologize. I'm running a new rig this week, and so any technical difficulties that I run into is because of the new rig, and getting things kind of squared away. The downside of production, you can only test it when it's live. So we're going to continue taking questions from ask.fm. Great last question there from Machine, kind of talking about it. And then we'll kind of go from there. Let me know in chat if there's any audio issues, as we weren't able to test the Skype side of things, but at least we had a backup, which is always kind of nice. You don't necessarily plan for that. So let's go ahead and take another question here.
Let's do it.
And then we'll go ahead and kind of find out what topic of discussion TrendKill wants to talk about. That was one of the options in our topics for tonight. So let's see here. This question is: do you think there is a chance for new pro teams to start up right now and actually make it within the scene? So I know, TrendKill, you don't watch a ton of competitive stuff, but you definitely have been in the Smite scene long enough to see teams come and go. So I'll go ahead and throw that over to you.
I don't think there's an issue. I think that if the problem is not that you're new, the problem is that they're still possibly better than you.
Yeah.
And another issue is that they've had practice. Mm-hmm. They've had a lot of time working together. Even if they get new players, a lot of those guys have at least had time in a competitive team, and they know how to communicate. They know when to call out, and they know how to work with those guys because they played against the guys they may be on that team of now. Know. So I don't think it's an issue that it's too hard for new teams to come into the whatever you want to call it, the scene. The scene, yeah. The issue, I think, is that if you don't do good in a tournament, maybe that other team is still better than you.
Sure.
It's an absolute possibility. So it just comes down to I've got a group of guys that are always in my streams. And they have only have 4 people, but they have a really good 4-man group.
Okay.
And I think that honestly, a lot of people like that could play in the tournaments now, and do well. It's just a matter of, are they good enough to beat some of these super teams that people have put together? That's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I would encourage people, and the big thing is, like, in the past few weeks, we've seen some teams come into the Hi-Rez Weekly and sign up for it. There isn't really like a qualifier or anything. So people go in and sign up for it, and then they get demolished by some of these pro teams, and people will make posts about it or BM about it. And it's like, it's a learning experience. Like, you don't come into a very competitive, very talented scene on the Hi-Rez Weeklies and expect to blow them out of the water. I mean, D2F this past week did really well, but that's not the case. That they're kind of a separation from that rule there. But I think everybody has a chance to come in, and I want to see more and more teams come in there. Just don't expect to come into the scene and within a month have a sponsor and be playing for Team Liquid or Evil Geniuses. Like, teams that are playing in it, that like I've been in the scene since Woggle. Which this was like 2 years ago, like season 1, like the first tournament like series ever, the first Smite, I feel like. And back then, some of those teams have been playing for like 2 years casually, playing on a few different teams that had a little bit of sponsorship here, a little bit of compensation money, but nothing crazy. And now all of a sudden, within the last few months, are starting to get some notice from some of these big names. So be patient is all I can say to some individuals like that.
It takes work.
Oh my gosh!
It's not just be a good player; it's be a good team, and you have to work cohesively together. And it takes practice, just like a basketball team or a football team.
Sure. Yeah, without a doubt. So we'll go ahead and throw it over to you. What is your topic of choice? What do you want to talk about?
This was kind of thrown on me for everybody that doesn't know. Right before we even started.
Okay.
And my main go-to topic is always about content creation. I get so many questions about people saying, "Hey, I just started on YouTube or Twitch. help me be big.
Okay.
Is not like that. It's not that easy.
Okay.
The main thing that I can tell anybody, once you've got your hardware down, you've got a good computer, you can put out at least 720p content, which is pretty much the standard.
Yes.
On Twitch and YouTube, really.
Yep.
As long as you have 720p, you're pretty safe. Once you have your hardware down, it's about the content that you're putting out. It's not you. Just because you're funny, you're awesome at commentating an entire video, and you're good looking doesn't mean you're going to be successful, because it's about what you're putting out. You got to remember that people, especially on YouTube specifically, are only looking for certain things. They're not looking for new guy plays Assassin's Creed.
Sure.
They're looking for how to do blank. So you got to make something that people are going to search for. Remember, YouTube, when you're new, you're not just going to pop up on the main feed and say, oh, look, new gaming videos from this guy. He's got one view. I'm going to go click on that. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
They're searching for day one Assassin's Creed walkthrough, or how to do blank in Assassin's Creed, or Smite, or World of Warcraft, or whatever game you're playing. It doesn't matter. Also, you want to take into account the game that you're playing. If you try to jump into the Minecraft scene right now, good luck. If you try to jump into the World of Warcraft scene, it's a little late for that, So you got to make sure that the videos that you're creating are going to matter.
Sure.
When it comes to streaming and it comes to Twitch, you have to be engaging. Again, you have to be playing one of those games. On Twitch is a little different from YouTube, because people might not be searching. They might just go into browse. They might pick their favorite game, and they might go through to find somebody they like. Maybe their favorite streamer isn't online at the moment, and they want to watch somebody else play Smite or Hearthstone or League of Legends, whatever is a big game. Again, you got to worry about what game you're playing. Nobody's going to browse down through 50 League of Legends players to find you at number 51 or 101, whatever.
Good point.
So if you play Smite, Smite is a perfect game to get into the Twitch scene on, because other than Smite Game, Smite Pro, and maybe like DM or Dry or Squid, if they're streaming, your top stream's probably going to be 200 to 300 people.
Yeah. Yep.
So you got to watch for games like that are always up high on the list because of other secondary or tertiary channels, and then you kind of slip in on that list, on that directory, because you've got, say, 50 people watching you, or 100 or whatever. Yep. You might be fifth, and you might get clicks because of that. So it's all about the content that you're making, the content that you are the way you present yourself, and how you're making that content and getting it out to the masses.
Sure. I mean, I could definitely comment on that. I feel kind of like what you talked about, like when you're going to YouTube, what are you as the individual searching for? What are you going out there to look for? You're not just going to go to YouTube. I mean, maybe you do, and just type in Smite if you just want to sit back and watch a few Smite videos. Okay, whatever. But most people will go to YouTube and be like, how to jungle, or how to solo lane, or or they're going to look for team solo mid versus Cloud9 Smite, or something like that. So think about it. If you're a content creator, sit around and go, okay, what will people go to YouTube for and look for? Where can I fill that niche? And that's what makes you unique. Also, same thing you had commented on was kind of riding that new community scene kind of train. This applies to Smite or anything. If you come into a scene very, very early on and you're creating content or you're streaming something that no one else is doing, you're going to ride that new streamer or content creator train, where you're going to get a lot more subs and a lot more viewers just because, in fact, no one else is doing it. But if you go into a saturated scene and you're just putting out saturated Smite content, like for me, I have 2 YouTube channels. One channel is just Smite gameplay, just me having fun playing Smite. Doesn't do that great, but still does good. Reason being is, well, everybody's putting out Smite gameplay, let's play type of content. Not a big deal. But on the other side, I have a Smite channel, which is all Smite shows. Well, no one's really putting out Smite shows. And so that does even better with viewers because of the fact that I'm doing something unique and different that no one else is really doing and throwing out there. So I think you have and I think that same thing applies over to Twitch with like live viewership, is that what are you doing that separates you? If you're just playing Smite and hanging out, they could go look at 25 other streams and find the exact same thing. So what sets you apart? What are you doing differently? I mean, for a pro player, the reason that they're separate and doing well with some of their viewers is because they're a competitive pro player, and people that are looking to watch Barracuda play Apollo go watch him because they want tips, they want to learn from it. You know, people that want a ton of Smite insight from a competitive perspective, you know, go watch DM Brandon. One, he's entertaining, but two, he has a ton of insight into that competitive scene. So, yeah.
I do want to point out, just off the same topic that we're talking about. While you were talking, I pulled up my Smite videos.
Awesome.
My average gameplay video gets about 10,000 views.
Okay.
In comparison, my first beginner's guide that I put out 9 months ago has almost 50,000.
Perfect example. Perfect.
So 5 times the views just because it says Smite beginner's guide.
Yeah.
The basics and tips for beginners. So somebody's searching for how to play Smite, they're finding that.
Sure.
Because that's what they're searching for.
Yep.
Somebody who's searching for Smite gameplay is probably not going to find me because there's plenty of people out there that are bigger and better. Definitely better is a big deal.
Yeah.
That are putting out Smite gameplay. And they're going to draw those competitive viewers.
Yeah.
I draw funny viewers that people want to watch me tell stupid jokes and make them laugh.
Yeah.
I don't draw the pro viewers because I'm far from a pro. So understand that that's just a small comparison. But in another comparison, Skyrim is a big game. A lot of my Let's Plays, my average episode is going to have 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 views. But my guides all have... that's a popular episode. Most episodes may be in the 80 to 100 range. But my guides, my first guide I ever put out when Skyrim first launched has almost 1 million views on it.
Wow, good for you.
So when you look at it that way, there's a 10 times difference there because it's how to do something, how to build this character.
Sure.
So you've got to put out something that people are going to search for.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very, very good point, and I think that feels. I know I did, as I talked about before, I did like a 6-part guide on hardware, equipment, and stuff like that for streaming and all that fun details. And one of the last parts that I put together was just kind of like a tips and tricks type of session, just kind of like ways to attract people, and that was a big thing I pushed, was just being unique. You know, your quality is everything. The content you're providing is great, but that content has to be unique. It has to be different. You know, it has to fill that void that no one else is doing at that time. You know, don't make yourself another number. Like, oh, another gameplay, because you know you're gonna get discouraged, especially like on Twitch. You know, you're gonna get discouraged because like everyone's doing it. Why am I only getting 2 viewers? What's going on here? Well, it's not instant success just because you're playing Smite. You know.
Right.
So good point there. Good discussion. I actually like that topic.
Good.
We'll take one more question and then we'll go on to our last topic and then we'll round things off here. Let's see. What do we have here? Oh, somebody had said in chat. I'll just answer it here. Octane, can we see more shirts on Smite Shop? Yes, I'm actually planning to put more shirts on SmiteShop.com this week. So keep an eye out. You should see some more gods up there.
One's just going to be my face.
That's right. Just TrendKill. Bam! It's unique and different. It's going to sell a ton.
On the front, I want a picture of my face. On the back, I want the back of my head.
We can arrange that. Somebody says here, and we could give our opinions on this, but we can't give, you know, we don't know the full details. Somebody says, what exactly does the release of Smite mean? How is it going to affect balance patches, God releases? Are the God releases of patches going to slow down? So also throw this over to TrendKill. And keep in mind, guys, this is very much opinionated. You know, we don't work for Hi-Rez, so we can't give you the full details.
Right. I would have to imagine it would slow down.
Yep.
I would say we're going to see smaller balance patches, hot fix type stuff, size-wise, if you will. I think that your gods are probably going to slow down to maybe once a month.
Sure.
They might release 2 a month, but I think they'll probably be released at the same time or something like that. One big patch per month is really all an actual released game can do. It can't change as much as it is now because it's not a beta anymore.
Sure. Good point.
The launch of the game means that we're going to see a humongous spike in viewers. We're going to see a humongous spike in players because the game is now going to be advertised. One thing that Smite's not doing right now, they're not advertising really.
Correct.
The only thing we're doing is advertising on Twitch through the Smite game stream. We're also advertising on YouTube. I mean, that's really it. There's no like, hey, there's a TV commercial for Smite. You probably won't see one like a TV commercial, but you know what I mean. There's no real, hey, come play our game. It's new. If it launches on Steam or something crazy like that, I mean, in the free-to-play section, that would be insane. And viewers would just go, you know, through the roof.
Yeah.
Is that a sound effect?
Sure, it is now. It is now. It's all good. No, I completely agree with you. I mean, there's some things, you know, in that question. First off, he had asked kind of, what does the release of Smite mean? The game goes live. The game's out of beta. And so first off, from the community, you can kind of hold Hi-Rez a little bit more accountable for server stability and for server performance, without a doubt.
And for the release of new servers.
Exactly. You know, are the new servers coming in the next few months? Are they going to be adding more servers worldwide? Something to keep a look at there. Keep in mind, guys, Hi-Rez, you know, goes ahead and controls kind of the servers in the U.S. and the European area, but Tencent handles servers anywhere else. If there's going to be a server in Australia or South America or Russia, whatever, that's all Tencent. Tencent kind of owns that territory. So keep in mind, you know, they're going to be doing things together as a partnership, but, you know, that's kind of what to mean from a server side. How is it going to affect patches? I think we'll still see patches every week, especially when the game first releases. You know, I think we'll see a little bit more patches and hot fixes. You know, I would hope for that. As for God releases, they did say it will slow down. It is not going to be like once every 6 months we're coming out with a God. You know, right now they're definitely at that, I'd say about once a month type of point where they're at with gods. Maybe it'll cut back to once every 2 months. I'm okay with that. I don't want a League of Legends type of game where literally there are hundreds of gods and there's gods coming out all the time and you don't even know the counters or know the god abilities because there's so many of them. I don't want that many gods in Smite. I'm pretty sure everyone else doesn't either. Yeah, so that's kind of my thought there. I think from an esports perspective, you know, we're going to see, you know, that kind of increasing when the game releases. A lot, maybe a lot more connections with sponsors for competitive teams and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot going out there. And the last thing I want to comment on is just advertising. I think we'll see a different marketing and advertising model when the game releases.
Right.
You know, I mean, right now it's in beta, so you know, it's kind of advertising itself right now, especially through Twitch and stuff like that. But I think we'll see a different focus of advertising and marketing once the game releases. So,
yeah, somebody just commented, and I've seen these too, but the little side ads on websites and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I've seen Smite ads on websites and things like that, and that's. I agree with you completely. That's the current model they're using because there's no reason to advertise a game in beta.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that the whole gaming world in general is kind of going a little crazy with the alpha early release, you know, buy-in now and blah blah blah. You know, it's a little crazy. So I think slowing it down a bit is going to be a good thing, and I think just kind of going away from that almost annoying advertisements on the sides of websites and actually going to legitimate advertisements, I think is going to be great.
Yeah.
And something that you said that kind of made me want to comment. We were talking about the release of gods, and you don't want to see 400 gods in a video game. You know, you wouldn't know who to pick. Remember that the faster they release gods, the faster that a new player is going to look at the game and go, crap, where do I even start?
Exactly.
Right now we're at 50, and that's already for a new player like, whoa, like who's who, you know?
Yes.
When you get to League and you get to Dota, they're like 110, 120, and they're still releasing them. And I don't know what the actual numbers are, but
sure.
I think once you get to the 100 mark, it's time to kind of chill a bit. You know what I mean? You get much more than that, and new players are going to go, I don't even know what to do. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, you had commented on, like I go to a website and I see a Smite ad. Those of you guys in chat that don't understand, that's actually just AdSense. That's just Google AdSense. And what that is if you go ahead and search the internet for Smite game, like you go to Google and type in Smite game and it brings you to the Smite website, or you go and you search on Google or another browser for Smite content. It goes ahead and looks at that cache that, you know, it kind of looks at your cookies to see, okay, where does this guy view? What is he looking for? And then when you go to, let's say, okay, example, let's say I'm looking for a capture card, you know, a new capture card, which I will be here, and I search that in Google. Then I go ahead and go to Tier Monster. Guess what I'm going to see at the top of Tier Monster? I'm going to see a capture card advertisement for VaynerMedia. Did Tier Monster put that in there on purpose for me? Nope. They just have Google AdSense set up, which works with the cookies on your computer, and all that is just great marketing. It just goes, okay, what does this person usually look for? And I'm going to go ahead and give them the ads for it. So when you guys see Smite advertisements on random websites, and you're like, why is Smite advertising on this website? You know, it doesn't make sense. Well, all it is Google AdSense, guys. It's just the way it's set up to work. So Smite isn't doing anything but putting money towards Google to say, hey, advertise us in these situations, you know, games, MOBAs, Smite, X, Y, and Z. So that's kind of how that works for those people that didn't completely understand that.
Yeah. Also, everybody always asks me, why are you in incognito mode? It's obviously porn. No, that's why I'm in incognito mode. I don't want people to advertise on, on my on my websites that I view.
Sure. Without a doubt there. So we'll go ahead and we're going to take, we kind of talked about where does Hi-Rez go from here, just with that question. So we're going to go ahead and take just one more question here from the ask.fm site, and then we'll kind of round up the show. And I know this show could go on forever, guys, without a doubt. But, need to respect TrendKill's time, and then also the fact that somebody will be coming on here in the future. Little Mamacita, I think it is tonight. So let's go ahead and see here. In Smite, what is the main thing that separates casual players from pros, game-wise? So I'll just throw it over to you, TrendKill. What do you think separates the two, casual to pros, when it comes down to, I guess we'll kind of throw it gameplay, because game-wise is, kind of I don't think the right term to use there. I think it would be like gameplay, or
the way they play the game.
Yes.
I think is what he meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, first off, I think that the pros are constantly looking to better themselves, and that's the big difference between pros and casuals. Is the casual player may not be trying to better themselves; they just may want to play, and they may want to play at the current level that they're playing at. They may not want to focus on getting better, and they may want to focus on just enjoying the game. And that's always going to be the thing that separates pros from casuals. If you go play basketball, you go to the park and play a pickup game, you're obviously not trying to be LeBron. You want to win, obviously. You don't play to lose, but you're not necessarily practicing every single day in your driveway or something like that. So you want to play, you want to get exercise, you want to enjoy the game of basketball. Well, with Smite, kind of like me, I would consider myself a competitive casual player. I never want to lose. I always want to win. When I lose, it sucks. Occasionally I get down if I start losing 10 games in a row. But I don't practice every day to refine my skills and hone my game. And I think that's really what pros are going to do that casuals aren't.
Sure. I mean, the big thing for me looking at that question is just kind of what are pros going to play, stuff like that. There's a lot of homework behind it too.
Right.
A lot of pros that are on teams, like for example, like Denial. I know they have like a team of people that analyze the games and the replays to determine like where they're not doing as well, and to figure out, okay, also doing homework on other teams to figure out, hey, how can we excel there? When you're looking at, most casual players, after they finish an arena match, they're not like, okay, let me watch the replay and analyze it. Where did I go wrong? Where did I go right? What item would have been better? Let's do the math to calculate it out. You're just there to play the game. Like, you just want to play, you want to have fun, you want to win. Whereas for a pro player, they're like, okay, I want to play the game, I want to win, I want to analyze it, I want to determine how to be better, I want to maximize my abilities, I want to maximize the math and everything like that. So the mindset is just astronomically different, I feel like.
Yeah. I see somebody in chat says rotation, game sense, wards, knowing your opponent, God struggles.
Perfect.
That's not really a separation between pros and casuals. That's a separation from experience and inexperience. Even me as a casual player, I know about rotation, I know about warding, and I know different gods to pick in different situations. But I may not care. Does that make sense? Because I may still just want to play to have fun.
Yeah. No, I think that's what are you laughing about?
Apparently, I have a microphone in the background, and I didn't realize. No, that's a microphone that we use for our podcast.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
No big deal there. Well, guys, that's probably going to close out today's show. If you guys enjoyed the show, I'll go ahead and put a link in chat for where you guys could check out the VOD. If you guys came into the show a little late and you're like, oh, where can I check out the rest of it? It's youtube.com/the-Smite-update is where you guys could check out the VOD. I'll put it in chat real quick here. I know my lovely typing is wonderful in your ears, folks. But I will go ahead and put that in chat. And feel free to go over there. Check out previous episodes of Smite Talk. Last week we had Mesmerize on. The week before that we had F-Dot on. We've had Smitten on, Hi-Rez APC, Squidish. So we've had all different types of people on the show. So go ahead, check it out. And then if you guys want to check out the entire VOD, or other VODs, please do that. The Smite Update podcast is over there as well. So if you guys want to check out another type of show, please check that out. And make sure you hit that subscriber button in the upper right-hand corner. It is nowhere near what TrendKill has whatsoever, but hey, it's a start. And we're hoping to make an impact in the community with having a centralized type of podcast YouTube channel. So please check it out. Also, if you guys want, I have gone ahead and made the podcast available on iTunes. Reason being is because a lot of people want to go ahead and listen. Like this show, there's nothing to look at. It's just TrendKill and I up here talking. So if you guys want to go ahead and enjoy the show when you're on the road, you're at the gym, you're at work. I know a lot of people, enjoy listening. They have the ability to listen to like headphones when they're at work. Well, why not listen to something about Smite when you're at work? So I did go ahead and link in chat the link for Smite Talk on iTunes. It is available as well on the Android. So go ahead if you have, like for me on my phone, I have an S4. I downloaded BeyondPod. It's an app on there, and you can go ahead and use that and then just search. So go on there, download that app, then search for a podcast. So you can look up Smite Talk, and there's only 3 Smite podcasts out there right now. One is Smite Talk, one is Smite Update, and then the other one there is the Dead Workers group, Smite On. So make sure you follow to all of those. That would be awesome.
Doesn't seem like Dead Workers would be very efficient.
Strong. That's right. Finally, if you guys have any comments or anything about the show, feedback, please email it to smitetalk@gmail.com. Once again, this is our production of OctaneProGaming.com. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out that website, please do. Special thanks to Hi-Rez Studios for allowing Smite Talk to be on the Hi-Rez Smite channel every week at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to check out next week, I haven't lined up a guest yet, but I definitely will here shortly, and it will be announced on Reddit. So TrendKill, where can people find you if they want to check out your YouTube or your live channel, or where can they check out your content?
If you want to check me out on YouTube, check me out at youtube.com/TrendKillV01. I usually do the MP bot thing, but it looks like it might be down.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Hey, there it is.
There it works. It did work for me earlier. I was trying to promote it for you.
I obviously have the magic touch. You can check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/TrendStreamV01. YouTube is TrendKill. Twitch is TrendStream. Beyond that, as you said, we are currently building a website for our podcast.
Nice.
And it is far from professional. It is very R-rated, so I won't even advertise it here.
Okay.
But that will shortly be on iTunes as well.
Great.
And you can find that over on YouTube. Currently, we have the opposite issue. People want to see video, and it's on YouTube with no video currently because it's got nowhere else to go.
That's right. That's right. That's very true. Well, if you need any help getting it on iTunes, let me know. I know it's an interesting process to go through.
Yeah.
So, but there is a lot of information out there, and I do encourage the community. Like, if you guys are interested in getting into podcasting, go for it. Just do it. Just jump in front of a microphone.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, just get in front of a microphone and talk. If you want to put it on YouTube, if you want to put it on iTunes, they're just different outlets. I mean, the only reason we have it on both is because we feel that there's 2 different types of demographics. So, go for it. And if you want to talk about Smite, please do. I'd love to see more podcasts out there. I'm not out there concerned about Smite competition within the show scene. I think it's only good to have competition. Competition builds quality is the way that I see it. So without a doubt, guys, I'll go ahead and put my link in chat for my Twitch channel. Please go ahead and follow me. I more recently finally got a subscriber button on my channel. So if you guys like the content I'm putting out week in and week out, just go ahead and sub. Would greatly appreciate it. But if not, a follow is always appreciated and completely understandable if you can't financially afford it. I will also link in chat the YouTube channel once again to catch the Smite Talk podcast shows as well, all the VODs and everything like that. Guys, I'm going to take the stream down for about 10 minutes as myself and TrendKill just kind of finish things out. And then I will be back for viewer games for about an hour till about 10 o'clock p.m. And then Little Mamacita is going to be on. And then I'll be continuing streaming on my own channel after 10 o'clock. So from myself and TrendKill, thank you very much. And TrendKill, thanks for coming on, man. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'll do it again anytime you want.
Awesome. All right, folks, you have a good night. And once again, this is the episode. This is the episode 16, yes, of Smite Talk podcast. Take care, folks.
Thanks, guys.
One sec here.